My name is Veronique. I'm the CEO co-founder of the GreenShot, and so I'm between all these very, very interesting panels. So basically, if we really want to have climate impact fast, we really need to involve people now. And that's really, I would say, the vision we at the GreenShot had. We started in this 2018. We actually launched a company in 2021. So we were crazy enough to launch a company in this sector during COVID years. And listening to Fran and to Laura, I realized also that we were up against a number of other challenges that are really interesting. But so what I'd really like is embark you once to why we did that and what is impact that we can deliver concretely. So we are a very concrete company. So yes, we have a tech solution and we have data and we have AI, etc. But we don't want to be called a climate tech solution. We want to be called a climate impact company. And the difference is that, yes, we deliver impact, but to empower, we deliver a tech solution to empower people so that they deliver impact. And that's a very, very different approach. So how did we design this tech? Or rather, much more importantly, why did we design it and for whom? So to take you on that journey, I guess most of you had a cup of coffee this morning, right? I mean, a lot of people drink coffee here. Okay. So if I tell you that cup of coffee costed 1,000 euros, you're immediately going to think, okay, it's too expensive, it doesn't make sense, etc. How long did that take you? Not a nanosecond, right? You have the instinct of that. Okay. So if I tell you that cup of coffee generated 10 kilos of carbon, what are you going to think? Basically nothing, I think. I mean, is it too much, too little? Is it wrong, etc.? So that's really why, part of the problem, why we're not achieving real impact on curbing all this climate. We don't have an instinct. It's a metric that we don't feel, and that's really where we need to go. So impact already is about moving from where we are today into something that is much more powerful, that is people mobilizing. And is that what we're doing? Well, you know, the world is feasting on reports. And we basically analyzed really quickly that this was not the wrong way to go. I'm a cybersecurity engineer, I like numbers. But if you think about, especially in our industry, what do we do with these reports? So we complete a production, whether it's an event, festivals, or whatever. And then after that, we analyze the report. And then we're going to say, okay, we could have done this better. And then we're going to communicate it to a team that basically has moved on. In our industry, we have 30 million people working, and they, on average, have 10 to 20 contracts a year. So by the time you actually analyze what you did wrong on the last time, you won't even have anybody to talk to for the next time, right? So this is really the way of slowing down impact, the way we are going about it today. So what we did, we invented a completely different paradigm. And so what does it mean, a completely different paradigm? Point one, again, I won't focus on how we did the technology, but why we did the technology. Point one, it's real-time computation of the carbon emissions of what people are doing in a production, an event, a festival, in a castle, in a museum, etc. And point two is doing it at a very, very detailed level. So I'll take a very concrete example. I'm moving from coffee to food, I guess. I'm not hungry, but... so if you have a catering invoice, right? If you do a report today, the accountants will say, I spent 200 euros, this is the carbon footprint. When you start reducing, the only thing you can do is starve people, right? You just buy less food. That's not going to work on any production team. So what we do, we actually go inside automatically, and we will see that there are 10 vegan meals and 2 hours of transport, etc. So we give not only a real-time vision, but a very, very granular vision. And once you have that, then you can actually start moving to a completely different approach. Just to give you numbers, we completed an 8-episode TV show, and we had 6,000 documents, different sources. we generated 50,000 data points. That's the level of information you get across everything, catering, building sets, moving, et cetera, et cetera. But once you have that, then you can actually start working and reducing. But the second point, obviously, you have 50,000 data points. Nobody reads that, right? It's what you do with those data points. So obviously, we do all the reporting and we consolidate, etc. But what's really interesting is the next step is that we personalize that. So it means that everybody in a team, they have their own footprint, the footprint of the work they've been doing. Because when you see, blockbuster Hollywood, 3,000 tons of carbon, nobody relates to that, right? I mean, you don't see a lorry going by with 3,000 tons of carbon. You don't own that process. When you have a team member that has the carbon footprint of the wood they were buying, the food they were eating, etc., they're down to 200 kilos or whatever. You use the psychology of a dieting application, right? Then you go from 200 kilos to 180. People start owning the process. And so that's a completely different way of doing things. We deployed that 2 years ago, and that's really what's been getting results. That's really what's driving this. So just to give you, in a few numbers, in 2 years we had about 200 productions. We have about 15,000 users. And yes, once you start doing that, we actually have productions that have saved money by going green. And then once you are back to money, which is a metric we can actually have an instinct for, then people actually start reducing. So just maybe in the last part, what is really important is that, as I said, we do that real time. When you really become powerful is when people start planning earlier. Because when you start planning, then you can actually make choices. You can use all the same systems we have, but you make choices that actually from the start will start decreasing the MP. So this is a very, I would say, concrete approach. It's delivering numbers, it's delivering an ownership of the process. And I would like to conclude in connecting it to the organization of this conference. For those of you who were there yesterday, I wasn't there the days before, so I don't know how lunch was done the day before. I guess a lot of you had these blue boxes. I was in the other places. We had a blue box where there was a sandwich and pasta and a banana, etc. It was interesting because most people ate or the pasta or the sandwich because there was a lot of food, right? Okay. And then if you saw there was a disaster of blue boxes in bins which had either sandwich or pasta. If you plan an event like this one and you actually, whether it's a GreenShot or something, but think about it, you will just do a message saying, if you don't eat the sandwich or the pasta, put it there, and the food will be redistributed. Multiply that by the number of people who were here. This is very concrete about achieving impact. But it wasn't done, right? And so you mobilize people, they start owning the process. We would have owned, all of us would have owned that process immediately. If in every panel there had been, or in the Delphi, confidential that we received, remember, at lunch, see, what you don't eat, put it in that bin there, and it will be redistributed. We would have owned that process immediately. This is what I talk about when we do impact. Thank you very much.